Okay, morning. Right. Um, Last week I promised a part two to finding your purpose in life, and last week Ndaka Taura about how my great granddad got to be, and how his father escaped from what was about to happen to him. And the point that I was driving home was, for all that to have happened, there had to be a purpose for my life, for my being, for him to be preserved, and for everything to happen the way it did. If you did not watch that one, go to part one. Right, so this one I had promised I'll tell how my dad got to be, and eventually how I arrived to be where I am. So yeah, it happened that my grandfather now got married to my grandmother, and my grandmother had uh, one boy child who was Gary Senior and my namesake. So yeah, and then a couple of girls. And in those times, remember, those were patriarchal times, agro-based. Boys were a necessity. So squabbles began, and then my grandfather married his second wife. His second wife had a first child, and the first child was a boy child. And you know, as is the custom in those days, then more issues start to pop up. So my grandmother was then blamed for not giving him boys, and as a result, she was to be expelled from the family home. But yeah, at the time she was pregnant, almost late, and so yeah, issues happened, and then eventually she got expelled from the family home. And as she was making the walk from my grandfather's home to her parents or to her relatives, she apparently had a birth in the bush, and that birth was my father. Yeah, so cut the long story short, eventually my grandmother had two more boys, Bamnin Baba Juani, who is passed, and Baba Nyari, who passed away about 2 months back. Yeah, so basically my grandmother eventually was invited back into the family home after she had given birth to my dad. So that's how my dad got to be. And then from my dad, I was eventually born. So then the big question that then remains is, why would then God preserve my great granddad and then my dad eventually, and then coming to me? So the bottom line is, God has a purpose for each and every one of us. And if we want to find out, because one question that was asked of me from last week was, so what is then my purpose? How do I find my purpose? Okay, so I'll go back to the Bible. Like I said in all my other posts, I believe so much in the Bible, and I'll refer to it as often as I can. If you go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 13, as it ends, it then says, now here is the conclusion of the whole matter: fear God and give glory to him. Joining it with Jeremiah chapter 1, which I used in the last recording. Jeremiah says then, before we were all formed in our mother's wombs, God knew us. Before we were conceived, he had ordained us and made us prophets or spokespersons for him. So in short, my purpose and your purpose is to make sure that we get someone to know that there is God. And how do we do that? Through how we live, through how we talk with people, and even through the messages that we share with people. Our lives must be testimonies that we know that there is God, and it is he that lives, and it is he that reigns. And so if you want to find out what your purpose is, just find out where you perform best in as far is proving who God is. And then, yeah. That's about it. So, yeah, each one of us is meant to live that purpose. And unless that is fulfilled, we'll always feel that void in our lives where we want to find, what must I do? Where do I belong? Who am I? That question is only answered when you do what is best for God. And the Bible even goes and says, so whatever that is, it is that you find to do, do it with all your strength and with all your might, as unto the Lord. And when that has come to fruition, then purpose in life is defined. So yeah, have a nice one and live a purposeful life, have a purposeful day, and make sure your life changes someone's life today and all the days that shall follow. God bless.